The survival of any plant or animal depends on its ability to adapt to the environment where it lives. A biome is a community of organisms that live and interact within a particular area. These organisms thrive or perish depending on their ability to adapt to conditions such as the availability of food and water, soil conditions, temperature, and sunlight. Because geographic and climatic conditions vary around the world, there is a global distribution pattern of biomes, each with their own characteristic plants and animals. We are going to describe these patterns and point out some of the similarities and differences of organisms that live within biomes. The tundra biome exists in the extreme northern part of the North American and Eurasian continents. The climate is characterized by very short growing seasons and long, cold winters. The tundra is treeless and barren because the top layer of the ground is permanently frozen. It is this permafrost that prevents tree growth. In the winter, the sun is either absent or low in the sky. There is little precipitation, and most comes in the form of snow. It provides an insulating layer on the ground and can be an advantage to some plants and animals. The animals that live year-round on the tundra must adapt to these harsh conditions. They all have compact bodies with thick, insulating cover of fur or feathers to conserve warmth. Species include Arctic hare, Arctic fox, timber wolves, and lemmings, and birds such as ptarmigan. Most have physiological adaptations to allow them to accumulate thick deposits of fat during the short growing season. Fat acts as insulation against the cold and as a store of energy for use in the winter. Some species change their fur or plumage to white in winter and brown in summer. These musk oxen have a long, shaggy fur coat that keeps them warm in the most bitter winters. In the short summer, the tundra comes alive with lichens, moss, and dwarfed shrubs. All of these plants are ground-hugging in order to preserve warmth. Large herds of caribou in North America and reindeer in Eurasia migrate onto the tundra in the summer to graze on the shrubs and lichens and return south to the protection of woodlands in the winter. Many waterfowl summer on the tundra, along with some birds of prey. Tundra-like conditions exist at high altitudes on mountain ranges around the world and has come to be called alpine tundra. The thin soils and cold temperatures at high altitudes are suitable to low-lying shrubs. A few animals, like these mountain goats, thrive in these conditions. Despite the harsh conditions of the tundra, some plants and animals have learned to adapt and survive. The boreal forest is a broad belt in the northern hemisphere south of the tundra. This biome has a range of temperatures with long, severe winters, short, warm summers, and low precipitation. Coniferous or needle-leaf trees are the dominant vegetation. These species are well adapted to the severe winters. The conical shape of the trees promotes the shedding of snow and prevents the loss of branches. The needle-leaf reduces the surface area through which water may be lost, and the retention of the foliage all year allows plants to begin the photosynthesis process as soon as the temperatures permit in the spring. The dark color of the needles helps the foliage to absorb maximum heat from the sun. There are a greater variety of animal species in the boreal forest. There are a number of amphibians such as frogs and invertebrates. Seed-eating birds proliferate as well as insect eaters. The beaver plays an important role in this environment by building dams along the streams, which create special habitats that are conducive to the survival of other species. Large herbivores include the moose, deer, and elk. In western North America, the mountains have created a temperate rainforest that is considered part of the boreal forest biome. Heavy rainfall from winds blowing off the ocean and moderate temperatures have created conditions where large coniferous trees thrive, such as the Douglas fir, western hemlock, and cedar. This rich environment sustains many large mammals like grizzly bears, cougar, and deer. The temperate broadleaf forest includes much of eastern North America, western and central Europe, China, Korea, Japan, and parts of southern Chile in the southern hemisphere. The climate in this biome is warm and humid. There is approximately a 6-month growing season, with the precipitation evenly distributed throughout the year. In North America, much of the broadleaf forest remains, but in Europe, China, Japan, and Korea, virtually all of the original forest has been removed for agriculture. The dominant vegetation in this biome is broadleaf deciduous forest. A mature forest creates a continuous crown of trees. Shrubs grow on the forest floor. Lichens and moss grow on the trunks of trees. A characteristic of the forest in eastern North America is the turning of the leaves in the autumn into brilliant colors. Then the leaves are shed and the trees become dormant for the winter. With spring, they grow new leaves for photosynthesis. There are a wide variety of animals, including herbivores such as squirrels, white-tailed deer, and chipmunks. Native birds include several species of chickadees, blue jays, and cardinals. Migratory species such as warblers, wrens, thrushes, and tanagers eat the insects that flourish here. Omnivores include raccoon, possum, skunk, and black bear. In Europe and Asia, much of the original wildlife has been eliminated. The temperate grasslands are among the most extensive biomes in the world. In North America, they include the Great Plains, stretching from the prairie provinces of Canada to Texas. In Eurasia, they stretch from the steppes of Ukraine eastwards through Russia and Mongolia. In South America, they include the pampas of Argentina and Uruguay, and in South Africa, they include an area called the Veld. The climate in this biome is semi-arid, with warm summers and cold winters depending on the latitude. Much of the precipitation comes in the form of snow in the winter, which serves as a reservoir of moisture for the beginning of the growing season. The temperate grasslands are composed of a rich mix of grasses and shrubs. The accumulated decaying grasses have created fertile soils, which have been converted into some of the most productive farmland in the world. The fauna in the temperate grasslands is low in diversity. In North America, the dominant large native herbivores are buffalo and deer. Since the herds of buffalo disappeared, cattle, sheep, and other domestic herbivores have been introduced and have thrived. Smaller herbivores like gophers and ground squirrels are plentiful. Carnivores in North America include wolf, coyote, and badger. Other continents have different species of herbivores. The horse developed in the steppes of Russia and Mongolia, and there are a variety of antelope on the South African veldt. Tropical savannas are widely dispersed in Africa, South America, and Australia. Temperatures are hot year-round, with distinct wet and dry seasons. The vegetation of savannas is characterized by perennial grasses. Some areas have an open canopy of trees. The large animal population inhibits tree growth. Mammals such as elephants debark the trees and knock them over. This opens the woodlands to grass invasion and attracts a variety of grazing animals. Grazers will eat and trample tree seedlings, inhibiting their growth. The savannas of Africa have the greatest diversity of hooved mammals anywhere in the world. Numbers of species will coexist in the same area. Most herbivorous mammals in the open savannas are herd animals, organized into groups of females with their young, and a single dominant male. These herbivores support a diverse set of carnivores such as the big cats, lions, leopards, and cheetahs. They usually hunt at night because it is cooler and their prey is more active. Deserts can be both hot and cold. What defines them is that precipitation is extremely low. A unique set of plants and animals have adapted to these harsh conditions. There is no tree cover, and plants have small leaves, spines, or thorns. They have extensive root systems, and different species store water in their stems, roots, or leaves. Although the desert is dry, occasionally there will be heavy rainfall. Because there is little vegetation to retain the water, flooding and erosion often occurs. A common type of desert plant is called ephemeral. The seeds lie dormant for many years, then after rainfall, the plant will sprout, flower, spread its seeds, and die, all within 2 weeks. The fauna in deserts, like the plants, have developed an array of strategies to deal with these dry conditions. Many are nocturnal or stay in the shade during the day. Body sizes are small, like this South African meerkat, and appendages are long to encourage cooling. Plumage and fur is light-colored to prevent absorption of heat. Reptiles are common. They are cold-blooded and can gain heat from the sun, and at other times they retreat to shade or underground to avoid the heat. Few birds make deserts their home because there is little food or water. Adjacent to deserts are areas with Mediterranean climate characterized by moderate temperatures with winter rainfall. Shrubs with small leathery leaves and thick cuticles are common, but because the regions are small, they have not developed their own animal species. The rainforest lies along the equator in South America, equatorial Africa, parts of India, Southeast Asia, Indonesia, and various islands. The tropical rainforest biome covers less than 10% of the Earth's surface, and yet it contains over half of the world's species of plants and animals. Thick forest is the principal vegetation. There can be up to 500 species of trees within a square kilometer. Sunlight is the major limiting factor to plant growth. The forest cover is so thick that less than 1% of the light that strikes the forest canopy penetrates to the forest floor. The climate in this biome is hot with very heavy rainfall. In monsoon areas, there is a real dry season, and in equatorial rainforest, there is a season of reduced precipitation. There is no annual rhythm to the forest. Rather, each species has evolved its own flowering and fruiting seasons. The fauna is highly diverse in tropical rainforests. They have bright colors, loud vocalizations, and a diet heavy on fruits. there are a great number of species of birds, reptiles, amphibians, and insects. A number of species of primates thrive in the rainforests of Africa and South America, such as the large apes of Africa. Three-fourths of the Earth's surface is covered by water, and there is a great variety of plant and animal life in aquatic biomes. All of the oceans are connected, and although species are more widely dispersed in oceans than on land, there is still a variety of conditions that stimulate the development of some species rather than others, such as water temperature, depth, ocean currents, and the availability of food. Microscopic plants and animals called plankton are the basis of the food chain in oceans. Plankton is scarce in deep waters, which limits aquatic life. In various locations, such as the Grand Banks off Newfoundland and the waters off Peru, ocean currents mingle, creating rich plankton life, which supports a wide number of species of fish, birds, and mammals such as seals and whales. Some species of whales migrate thousands of miles to find sources of plankton. The cold waters of the Arctic and Antarctic sustain a rich variety of marine life. These salmon are migrating from the oceans up freshwater streams to lay their eggs. Freshwater makes up only a fraction of the Earth's water, and yet ponds, lakes, and streams have about 10% of the aquatic species. It is difficult for freshwater species to disperse out of their watershed. Because they are restricted, they become more specialized and diversify into different species. The global distribution pattern of plants and animals are determined by the climatic, geographic, and geological features of the biomes of the world. Species survive or perish because they have characteristics that help them adapt to the conditions of the biome in which they live. Adaptation is the key to survival. The term refers to the layer of soil in the tundra which remains frozen year-round and prevents tree growth. The coniferous trees of the boreal forest are able to initiate photosynthesis early in the spring because they retain their needles through the winter. True or false? Deciduous trees in the broadleaf forest biome drop their leaves and become throughout the winter. Temperate grasslands exist only in the North American continent. True or false? The tropical savanna biome has distinct and seasons. Animals in the desert often have coats to prevent absorption of heat from the sun. Tropical rainforests have thick, which prevents much from reaching the forest floor. Rainforests only occur in the tropics. True or false? The polar oceans cannot sustain sea life because of the cold. True or false? Biomes contain flora and fauna that have, to the climate, soil conditions, and amount of available sunlight.